Hi.
Welcome to Book Pop,
I'm Molly Fish.
and I'm Jamie Anderson. And it is after dark in the bookstore.
I know, this is so fun. We're open on Mondays now, which is normally when we would podcast during the day.
So now we had to wait till the store closed
Uh-huh.
so that we could hunker down and get this done.
When I was making the post today, we posted on social media that we're open every day until Christmas. It made me very tired to think about. We also have 3 podcast episodes to record in the next 7 days,
Yep.
in addition to being open every day.
And one of those episodes is a live episode
Woohoo!
with our special guest, Christina Clancy, author of the forthcoming book, The Snowbirds.
Sunday, December 8th at the bookstore at Lake City Books in Madison, Wisconsin. We are going to be having a live episode. Tickets still available.
Yeah, go to our website on our events page. You can buy tickets there, and it's going to be a great show. I feel better about it because I know what to expect.
Right. We've done a live episode
We've
before.
done a live episode before. I'm really excited.
Right.
I
We
feel
know
like
it works.
It works.
A lot of the people that came to the first live episode bought tickets to come to this one as well, which means we know they had a good time.
Exactly.
That seems like a positive
Makes us feel good.
development. In the meantime, while we're open, I mean, Jamie, one of us is going to be here almost at all times.
Constantly.
For the next 23 days here.
Oh, man.
So we've got a lot of book recommendations. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be recommending books and selling books.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we would get out ahead of that and practice our book recommendations
Yes.
by telling you guys some of our favorite book recommendations and gathering those all together in one place.
So this is going to be Molly and Jamie's gift guide.
That's right. What should I get for my mom? What should I get for my friend who loves romance but has read all the romance already?
Mm-hmm.
What should I give for a person I don't know very well, but I know they like books?
What should I get for somebody who doesn't like books?
We even at a bookstore, you can find something for someone who doesn't like books.
You can.
But first, Jamie, what are you reading?
Well, I just finished today our winter read along, which is Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. And I'm going to talk a lot about that, or we are going to talk a lot about that in our, what are we going to call it? Winter read along wrap up. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's very thought-provoking. I can't wait to hear what other people are thinking about it. So if you are reading along with us, check out the survey for the book, and we're going to collect all that data and give it to you in its own episode.
And a link to that survey will be in the notes of this podcast.
Yes, thank you
So
for reminding me to do that.
You're welcome. If Jamie remembers to do it, then the link will be in the notes. If not, it will be on our website, lakecitybooks.com, on the Book Pop tab. But yeah, we really want to hear what you think because we love Oliver Burkeman and we feel like we learn so much about ourselves and each other when we read his work.
Mm-hmm.
So please do share with us if you have read that book. And if you have not read that book and you're interested, we are offering free shipping on that book with the promo code MORTAL, MORTAL, on lakecitybooks.com because we think everyone should read this and we don't want to charge you shipping on it. We just want you to have it in your hot little hand. Oh, that's now through the end of the year, by the way, December 31st. If you're listening to this after December 31st, 2024, you got to pay for shipping.
Sucks to be you.
Should have stayed on top of your podcast.
You don't have to pay any fees when you come into the store and buy it, though. So
I love that. I love that plug.
Yep. What are you reading, Molly?
It's a tough question. I'm reading the same book that I was reading last week. I'm almost done with it, and I was really thinking about like cramming it before this episode so I could be 2 pages into my next book and then I could pretend that that's what I was reading, but I didn't want to cram it. I am enjoying it. That's This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher. It's not like quite as addictive as I was hoping, even though I'm enjoying it. But it's not like one of those like I can't put it down books. I've been able to put it down.
Yeah.
I also I've been in a reading slump a little bit. It's real busy at the store. We got a lot going on. It was the holidays. There was a lot going on there. So, with family and friends and coworkers. And so I just haven't been reading a ton, and I'm giving myself grace. I've already hit my reading goal for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can chat more about that in our early 2025 episodes, but that helps me feel like, okay, I really read ahead
Yeah.
this summer. I like read a lot of books. It's okay for me to, during this busy time,
Right.
kind of take a step back and not push myself too hard.
We also kind of have a deadline with some of the books that we've been reading lately. So
Right.
it doesn't make it as fun
Right.
when you're not so much choosing the book.
Yes. And now I'm kind of deadline free. Like I need to finish Meditations for Mortals, but I am loving
You're gonna
that
love
book.
that, yeah.
And I can't wait to talk about it. And I'm already into it. So that is not a chore at all.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm free to either not read or read what I want
Yep.
for, a couple weeks in there around the holidays. And that will be really great. But right now I'm just kind of letting myself, watch TV. There's a lot of great TV coming out. It's kind of a problem for me.
Yeah. All the Christmas romance or rom-com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than reading Christmas rom-coms, I have been watching them.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot shorter.
Yep. Doesn't take as long.
Doesn't take as long.
You really
Doesn't
get the
take
story.
as much of my brain power.
Yes. I'm still watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. Full Gilmore Girls hole.
Actually, I came home last night after a busy day at the store, and Stuart was watching The Hobbit, which normally would totally be a
yeah.
comfort watch for me.
Definitely.
I couldn't handle it. I was just like, I'm going downstairs and I'm going to turn on my Gilmore Girls, and that's where I'm going to stay.
That's when you're like, oh, I'm in a tender place.
I'm in a tender place.
Even something that normally would be comforting to you is not. You're like, I need the uber comforting Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I did want to ask you, is there a book that you, after the holiday season, that you want to use as like your catapult into reading again? Like something you're really excited about?
Great question. I feel like I am a little bit TBR blind right now because I have been bringing home a lot of books I'm excited about. And then they all kind of glom together in my brain into like a lot of pressure of things I have to read rather
That's
than
real.
like individual things
Yeah.
I'm excited about. So I don't have a good answer for that other than I think there's a couple of things coming out and like new things that I haven't had a chance to read that now I feel like I'll be able to prioritize. One of them is actually one I want to prioritize listening to, but I feel like it's a good transition into our gift guide because I feel like this is going to be one of the gift books of the year, and it's also why I'm so excited to listen to it. And that is Ina Garten's memoir, which is called Be Ready When the Luck Happens. And I feel like that is going to be like comforting and also interesting. I have heard really great reviews of the book and of the audiobook, and that it's not just comforting, that it actually is she talks a lot about a time in history when women were not given opportunities, and that's what she's talking about, like when the luck happens, right? Like she happened to get lucky, and she leads kind of an unconventional life, which the way she set it up with her husband Jeffrey, who like these are all famous people now in our brains of pop culture, but like they had to get there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to hear about the unconventionalness and just like her journey, and she's such a positive person.
And she's always like a calming person. Like you
Yes.
turn on Barefoot Contessa and have that in the background and just like
Exactly. But funny, and I think this book is going to show how smart she is and how ambitious like she went for it, and I feel like that's something that I really respect and vibe with. So that's one I want to listen to. I've also been in an audiobook slump because I've gotten back into, there have been a lot of book podcasts and a lot of like holiday related recommendation podcasts that I've been getting into for work, and so I just have not, that's what I've been listening to.
yeah.
So anyway, that's going to be, I think, one that's going to get me back into audiobooks is going to be Ina Garten's Be Ready When the Luck Happens. I think this would be a great book to give to someone that you don't know well, but maybe you know they're into cooking. And like getting a cookbook for someone is kind of tough if you don't know like what they already have, what kind of things they like to cook.
Yeah.
This is like cooking adjacent. It's also like mom adjacent, right? Or like a mother-in-law who you don't know that well, but you know reads or might like to read, I feel like that could be a book that eases someone back into reading who doesn't
Yeah.
read a ton. It is just going to be a quote unquote easy read. Like it's not going to be super challenging while it's still interesting and entertaining and you're learning something. So I feel like it's a really Swiss Army knife gift that you could give to a lot of different people.
Does she narrate the audiobook?
She sure does.
Oh.
That's why I want to do the audiobook.
Uh-huh.
I really like her voice.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like as an author writing or reading your story, you're just so much more in tune to it. And like, you can just tell it so much better than anybody else.
I did hear, just briefly on the topic of that, I did hear that the Al Pacino audiobook is like basically he's having a conversation. They were like, he must have written it by just dictating it because when he's reading it, it sounds like he's just telling you a story and his voice is so unique. I was like, that would be a fascinating audiobook as well that I might not be as interested in to read, but to hear him say it like he's talking to you and like telling you this story of his life, that really unlocks something. We love a self-read memoir for sure.
Yes. I do have a book that I'm like dying to get into.
What's that?
Carissa Broadbent.
The third one.
The third one.
Or rather, the start of a new duology, right?
Yes, that's right. Technically, it's book one of a duology. And this one is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. And I know how you feel about the titles.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
There's not going to be a songbird or a heart of stone to be seen in this book.
No, there will not. And you know what? I'm okay with it.
That's fine. I know. I'm just saying it's nonsense.
But I literally had to like type into Google, like, what's the new Carissa Broadbent one as you were talking because I couldn't. There's no way I'm ever going to remember these titles. But I need a fantasy. I need a palate cleanse. And I like to use fantasy for that. So hopefully that will jumpstart my reading in the new year.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have a mom book you want to recommend to complement the recommendation I gave?
I do. And my mom book is a guide to the Midwestern conversations. And this is more of like a coffee table book that has like little stories and anecdotes, but it's like all these Midwest centric things and it kind of separates it by state. But then it's these things that make the Midwest so unique. I'm just going to turn to Wisconsin right away.
While you're turning to that, I will say I feel personally attacked by this book whenever I pick it up because
I know.
And it's hysterical, but it is like way too accurate.
It's very accurate.
I read it and I just go like, wait, isn't this how everyone talks? What do you mean? This is how specifically Wisconsin Midwestern people talk. On the front, there's literally a quote staring at me right now. It's like, hey, stranger. I say that so often, Jamie. If I haven't seen someone for like a week and I normally see them every day, I will say, hey, stranger. If I haven't seen someone for a month and I normally see them every week, I say, hey, stranger. I'm attacked.
Yep. The Midwestern goodbye is a social exchange all its own. It lasts anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours. Like,
so real.
Personally attacked right there. I was just thinking Thanksgiving the other week, how long it took us to leave my aunt's house. Like, I couldn't remember who I said bye to by the time we were leaving. And like, did I hug you? I don't know. We're just going to leave.
To me, it was like when we had some family friends coming into the bookstore, and I think I hugged people like 3 or 4 times as they were leaving because like they were leaving and then they'd hug someone else. I'm like, well, I want another hug.
Yep.
So it was just like, and then it became ridiculous. It was like, just get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah. And it also has this picture on the cover that is of corn cobs, and then it has the classic like Pyrex casserole dish.
Yes, with the little blue flowers on the side.
Yes.
I mean, it's
funny. It's like relatable.
It's great conversation for
great
the whole family to look at, and
yes,
mom or dad, I would say.
Yes,
I've seen
that's very
people
true.
buy this as a gift for dad. It's kind of like I guess like, for lack of a better term, boomer humor.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Boomer humor.
It's got some boomer humor, but we love it too.
It does, but it like leans into the whole no and no and
Those mean very different things.
Those mean very different things.
Yeah, no versus no, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's a great one.
I really
It's
like that one.
really universal. And we just sell it very consistently all year round. But I think around the holidays, it's a great,
Yeah.
great call out gift.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you want to do next? The book for the let's do this is one we get all the time. I haven't been reading a lot lately and I want to get back into reading or like something that will inspire me to do that.
Okay, great. I do think that Ina Garten's memoir could be one of those, especially if you're someone who has, since it's TV adjacent too, it's kind of like easing you back into reading, but you get to hear about the TV world. I think there's a couple. One of them that I wanted to mention is The Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan. We're sold out of that again because I've been hand selling it all week, even though we had a huge stack at the beginning of this week.
We did.
And I have used it as a recommendation for multiple prompts. One prompt was I'm shopping for a romance reader who has read all of the romance, and I want something that's like maybe got a little bit more of a story, but still has like the happy ending, romantic, warm heart, but maybe something else is happening. Like this is a book that we don't have in our romance section. We have it in our books about books section because it's about someone opening a bookstore in Scotland, and they move up there and they have a handsome, grumpy landlord who,
they do.
You know what I mean? Like, and I probably have talked about this book on the show before, so I don't need to get into it.
I don't know if we have.
Really?
I don't think so.
I talk about it so much, I think, in the store to recommending it to people that maybe I'm mixing it up. It's really charming. I've made like all my friends read it. I think I just gave it to my sister or sold it to her as one that I think she would like because it's like she was looking for something softer, right? So it's like, especially people who read maybe more literary fiction and they're like, I just want to take a step back, but I don't want it to be like full on romance. I don't need the erotica. I don't need, it's kind of like a nice in between of like contemporary fiction and nice warm romance. So I do think it's a great one then because of that it's that in between for someone trying to get back into reading.
Yeah.
It is, especially like a woman maybe finding herself, like she got fired from her job and needs to figure out a new path in life. She's moving house. She's moving into a different country. She, is, she's single. She's got a lot up in the air. And I feel like it's a great recommendation for anyone who it just feels like, I need a little grounding or I want to read about someone else who's maybe got a lot up in the air, but then has a nice soft landing.
Yeah.
Once they come back down. So that's a really good one. And if you like it, there are other books that are related by Jenny Colgan. For example, The Christmas Bookshop, which is one we have talked about. Yeah. And there, she also has one called like Close Knit. That's about a knitting shop. So I feel like those are things that I've gone to get back into reading when I need to, or I've pointed to, I guess mostly women, I will say, in terms of things that are easy to read, fun to read, you enjoy it, you want more.
I have one that will maybe appeal more to men, but also to women, because this was one that I loved. And I hand sell this all the time to people who say, I haven't been into reading in a long time and I need something that's short and sweet and, inspires me. And The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho is under 200 pages. It is short and sweet, in my opinion. But we've talked about this one on the podcast because it's one of my 5-star reads.
Yep.
I've probably read it, I don't know, a handful of times. And every time it means something different to me. This is something that I give for like graduation gifts. And like I've given this to my nephew. I've made Jacob read it. Like I just feel like there's a lot of sentiments in here that are encouraging to coming of age and to major life changes and to like just thinking about your own journey and what you want out of life. I think a lot of people will get a lot of different things from it. But I also had the experience where somebody who I sold this to came back and was like, this literally did change how I approach books and got me back into reading. So that was very validating, and I will continue to sell it for that reason.
I think it's also a great gift just because it's a great looking book. It's like a 25th anniversary edition. It's got edges that aren't quite even, like the uneven edges. And it is a really giftable book to someone who you're like, you want to get back into reading? even if they read it when they were a kid or something, or
Right.
had someone read it, or they vaguely remember the concept, they probably need to read it again.
I agree.
And it's something that is okay to read again. So I feel like
Yes.
that's a great one for trying to get back into reading.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe another one that would fall into this category would be The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This just came out. Braiding Sweetgrass has been a huge mega hit that has had this slow burn where now it's kind of everywhere,
Mhm.
but it's been out for years. And it is, part memoir, part nature exploration, part indigenous history. And she has come out with this book, The Serviceberry. The subtitle is Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. And it is an expanded edition of a magazine article she wrote of this title. And it's pocket sized. It is small. It is giftable. It is beautiful. It is something that I think people of any gender, any age can read and enjoy. Her writing is so beautiful and poignant and grounded in indigenous history and in nature and in her experience as a doctorate, like having a doctorate in nature. Like, she's so knowledgeable, but she's also can simplify things and explain them in such powerful ways. And this is all about abundance and us helping each other, and that all flourishing is mutual, which is printed on the back. And it's such a beautiful message. So it also has a message for now, for any time. So I think this could be one that not only gets you back into reading, but it's very giftable to anyone where you're like, I don't really know what they like, but if they vaguely like nature or are needing some kind of positivity injection right now, I feel like that could be a great gift.
All right. On that positivity injection, I have one that kind of relates. And, well, technically I don't have it because we're sold out of it.
Oh, the new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
James Norbury has these beautifully illustrated books that we have in our philosophy section because, and you said the word tender before. I feel like anybody who needs tenderness, like, this is a great book. The new one is The Dog Who Followed the Moon. The one that I grabbed is Big Panda and Tiny Dragon. And they are just like thought-provoking, tender stories that are nurturing and like give you a sense of zen, and also is beautifully illustrated and can be a good gift for anybody of any age. I mean, the writing in here is very concise. Like, it's not a lot of words. It's a lot of pages, not a lot of words.
It's almost like a storybook, but with philosophy and Zen meditation
yeah.
at its heart.
It is.
Like, that's like what the story is about.
Yes.
That book, actually, I did gift to my mother.
Did you?
Big Panda and Tiny Dragon. And so she came in the store the other day and saw that new one you mentioned. And her eyes were drawn to it automatically because they're also really beautiful. And she was like, oh, there's a new James Norbury. So that might be something, spoiler alert, Mom. Mom, cover your ears.
Cover your ears.
I know you're listening. Stop listening. I might have to get her the new James Norbury. And she reads that with her grandkids.
Yes.
It's like you can read it for yourself when you need it.
Cross-generational.
You can read it with your kids, your grandkids. It's really multi-purpose for sure.
Yes.
And something that's great to revisit.
Absolutely. Okay, now that we know what you're getting your mom, Stuart, cover your ears. This is one that I ordered specifically to the store because I wanted to buy this for Stuart. And Jacob and Stuart have this whole canned fish thing. Like, they have a journal and they write down all these types of canned fish or tinned fish. I don't know, whatever you prefer.
Tinned sounds nicer.
Tinned does sound nicer.
Canned fish sounds like cat food.
We'll go with tinned. But this book is by Anna Hazel, and it's a cookbook called Tin to Table, Fancy Snacking Recipes for Tin Enthusiasts and Aficionados, which I
Great
love.
pun.
I love a good pun. It's not too out there that you're not going to make these recipes, but it's like, I mean, who... I gotta be nice.
Were you going to say who would possibly want to eat this stuff? And then, wait, I'm living with two people?
I have so much tinned fish in my cabinet. It's ridiculous. And
That's good to give them creative ideas of how to use it.
It is, instead of just like a cracker and, eating it out of the tin. But it's also like really pretty, and
It is.
the photos in here are just so colorful, and the outside is all this like metallic lettering and edging, and like the inside cover is just all these fish. So we're really into tinned fish these days.
It makes me want to eat more tinned fish
Right?
just because of the book.
I mean, I do
how
love
good looking
tuna.
that book is. I love tuna too. We eat so much tuna.
So much tuna. I mean, the tuna casserole, speaking of like Midwest.
I know. But tuna salad is like one of our number one orders whenever we go anywhere.
That's very true.
We can split a tuna salad no matter what.
That sandwich at the Old Fashioned is
Yeah.
my go-to.
They make a great tuna salad.
Great tuna salad. And I bet there's a great tuna salad recipe in here too.
I bet there is. Great point.
Yeah. I was going to say, you talked about Mom. You have something planned for Dad?
My dad, I let come here for a day and pick out all the books he wants. It's like a fun little tradition that we have now. He does it for his birthday, for Father's Day, for Christmas, because he reads a lot. And I usually have a hard time keeping track of what he's read and what he hasn't. My parents both read from the library. They both listen to audiobooks, and I am always afraid to get them something. So anyway, I think we're going to do the same thing where he gets to come spend a day like doing some shopping for himself. And then I'll kind of pick two of the ones that he picks. But he likes pretty standard dad stuff.
Yeah.
If you have a dad who likes standard dad stuff, or anyone in your life who maybe likes space or sci-fi, and you're looking to get them something interesting, I think one of the most interesting nonfiction books that we have right now is called, especially like based on Elon Musk being in the news and all this space race stuff that's happening. This book is called A City on Mars by Kelly and Zach Weinersmith. And the subtitle is, Can We Settle Space? Should we settle space? And have we really thought this through? And what I love about it, I have not read this book, but I want to. And I think based on the blurbs, which are mostly by sci-fi writers,
fascinating.
I think it's really going to be a good read in that way. It's not going to be super dry. The sci-fi writers are highly recommending this, calling it like both hilarious and sobering and deeply researched. I feel like this would be a great book for science people, maybe for people who are frustrated that the space race has now been so politicized. I think this is like a non-political way to think about the future and about that kind of space exploration. And it's also for sci-fi readers who want to think about how close to reality some of this stuff really is. Like The Martian and other Andy Weir books that we love, which feel like they're close to reality. This will actually tell you about that. And so I think this would be a really interesting one. I think it would be a great gift for a lot of dad types. And then, dad doesn't have to be gendered, just people who love history, science, true crime, like the kind of classic quote unquote dad books.
Yeah, that sounds great.
A City on Mars. Do you have nonfiction?
I do have nonfiction.
That could be a good pivot.
For my nonfiction pick, I chose a little true crime situation. Say Nothing, A True Story of Murder and Memory in Northern Ireland by Patrick Radden Keefe.
Great pick.
I have this book and I've been wanting to read it, but I've heard so many good things about this book. So it's December 1972 in Ireland, and it's this 38-year-old mother of 10 is dragged from her house in Belfast by masked intruders. So it's everything that happens with that, and I don't know much about it, but what I do know is I want to know more about it. And I think that this is good for anybody who's into true crime, anybody who's into nonfiction, anybody who's into like the 1970s
history. Yeah. European politics.
Yes.
And there's an adaptation out right now.
I didn't know this.
They just started airing. I think it's on Hulu. It's on one of those things.
Oh.
Drama series. So I think it's like they dramatized that story of the abducted child.
Wow.
So there's a Hulu adaptation that is out now, or at least partially out.
93 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know. I've heard it's good. So
I
that's
bet
another
it's
good
great
reason.
because the story is good.
It's a very topical pick in that because
Yeah.
there's an adaptation out, and I think that usually drives people to want to pick up the book and like learn more because the book is always better.
Right?
It's always diving deeper.
So true.
Shockingly, I have 2 more nonfiction picks.
Okay.
I'll go through them kind of quickly, but I wanted to make sure to give a shout out to The Bookshop by
Yeah.
Evan Friss. I know I've talked about this book before, but literally anyone who likes books that you know would like this book. If you have a friend who's always like, let's go to the bookstore, get them The Bookshop. They will learn something. They will probably not shut up about it because I know I didn't when I was reading it. I was insufferable talking about like, did you know Benjamin Franklin had the first bookstore in the United States? I thought it was so fascinating. But if you know a person who likes both history and books,
It's
slam
a great,
dunk.
Yeah.
Slam dunk.
Yeah.
That's
Great pick.
another great potential dad book, I would say. I also want to say if you know someone who is normally reading like a lot of social science, a lot of like racially charged, challenging nonfiction, and doesn't really like fiction, but is struggling maybe to get into some of their things they like reading, like maybe the passion has burned out a little post-election. I know a lot of people who have been saying like no politics, no politics. People who are very into politics, might I add, normally.
Sitting right across from you.
And they're like, just no politics. And they want nonfiction and they want to keep learning, but they really want it to not be politicized. I think Wintering by Catherine May, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times, would be a really great choice for them. It's a great looking book. It's not just about winter the season. It is about taking a step back from the brink of wherever you're at, and whether it is someone who is grieving that you know, they could just be grieving the election. They could be grieving a loss in the family. This is a book that isn't going to be overtly pointing at that and being like, I got you a book on grief because you're sad.
Yeah.
It still is interesting and educational, but it will give them a permission structure to disengage a little bit. And I think it is something I've been recommending it to people who have told me, I quit my New York Times subscription. I quit my Washington Post subscription. I'm trying to fill the void of politics. And they might even feel a little conflicted about that. Like, oh, I feel bad not being constantly informed. You know what? This is a great book that's going to help you feel a little bit better. Like, you don't have to be constantly informed. You don't have to be constantly pushing yourself to the brink. You can take a step back. So I think Wintering by Catherine May is a great gift idea.
I have one more nonfiction.
Oh, great.
And this one I want to give to Jacob, but he's not listening, so I don't need to.
Yeah, no earmuffs required.
No earmuffs required. This is the graphic novel version of Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Sapiens, The Graphic History, A Birth of Humankind. This is volume 1. And it is so cool.
It's so cool.
It is incredibly colorful. It's like classic comic strip illustrations and also so much information about how humans got here and our history. And I really think Jacob's going to like this because he likes the nonfiction, he likes history, and he likes like the origin kind of story that this has. And I think it's perfect for anybody who shares those interests.
Exactly. Anyone, I think, who would, like young people, probably especially who are okay with the graphic format and who are into that,
Yes.
but who want to still learn about humankind. I mean, like, my brother is a social studies teacher. I feel like that would be a great gift for him.
Yeah.
Because he could share pieces of that with his students. And it covers social studies topics in relatable ways. And it's just such a cool, maybe you gave me a gift idea.
See, it's working.
It's working already.
It's working. You mentioned that your dad reads so much and you never know what he's read and what to buy him.
Mhm.
I think that leaves an opportunity for some of the other gifts that we have here that are not book related that you might want to get for somebody who's read everything. I have in front of me our new book sleeves that are handmade by Cat Trap Textiles, a local artist, obviously,
Yeah.
sews these. And they are the most fun patterns and they're padded so you can like put your hardcover book in here and throw it in your bag and have it with you all day and it's not getting torn or ripped. And we have them in sizes for hardcover, for paperback, and for e-readers.
Talk about a great gift for someone who you're like, they just use their Kindle. They just use an e-reader and I can't buy them regular books. Buy them a sleeve for their e-reader. It is genius.
Yes.
These are so freaking cute. You can't even handle it.
They are so cute. We have these ones with raccoons on them. What did we sell out of those?
We'll get
We'll
more.
get more.
We'll get more.
Ironically, Molly's has tinned fish on it.
It does because it was so cute. Well, fish is kind of my thing.
It
And
is
I
your
was
thing.
like, they're really vibrant, bright patterns. And we are so excited that one of our customers happened to show us that she was making these things. And I was like, I want to sell them.
Yes.
Please. We would like these in the store. And they've been selling really great.
They've been selling wonderful.
I'm so happy for her starting her wholesale journey in addition to doing like pop-up markets and craft fairs. She is so talented and these are perfect.
And they're such good quality. She's got such an eye for design. Like the zippers they match the,
You guys, you
I
have
can't.
to just come look at them in the store. You just have to. They're so cute. And I have, so the one I have is paperback sized and I keep a paperback in my purse anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's not getting so dinged up.
Right?
It's perfect. And it's this cute thing in my purse, like a little padded sleeve.
I love it.
We have a couple more things we would suggest if someone has every book and maybe they have a really great home library, but maybe what they don't have is a personal library kit. So this is great for anyone who's giving out their books, lending them to people, and they want to get them back. You can literally put a little library card on the inside and write down the name of people who take it. They can keep the library card. There's a stamp in here, a stamp pad, pencils. It's a really fun and themed, like on theme, book themed gift that no one is going to have.
Yes.
And we have two different versions of this kit, the personal library kit. They are, I just think, really special. People who love books like us love book accessories. We love book lights, book sleeves. We have like a stamp kit, sticker kits, things that go with our books, right?
Yeah.
And this is one that's reusable because it has a stamp. And so it's not going to run out necessarily. We really love the personal library kits. We will link to those as well in our notes, and you can come in and see them on our stocking stuffers table. One more quick shout out for one of my favorite small stocking stuffer gifts that's not a book is the 1 line a day journal. We have a bunch of different designs of this. I've been doing it all year in 2024, I'm happy to say. And they give you just a tiny amount of space to write 1 line a day. And it's for over 5 years. So next year, when I get to January 1st, I will see my entry for January 1st, 2024. And then I will write a new entry for 2025. And I'm going to have like a little time capsule. And and it's only 1 line a day. So it's so much less pressure than journaling. It's so much, I feel like if anyone is like, I want to journal, but then they never journal. This is a really great in between. I have never kept a journal ever in my life, but for 11 months straight, I have written 1 line a day.
Yeah.
And even if you like miss a couple days, I will go back and be like, oh, what did I do that day? Or just write like a little note or draw myself a little picture. And it's still something like a time capsule that I'm going to give to myself a year in the future.
Yeah. I am that person who has all the intention to journal and doesn't do it. I was doing really good for a few months and then I just stopped and I already have my 1 a day journal for
2025.
2025. And so I'm excited to start this and I feel like less pressure about it.
It's way less pressure than
way less
journaling for
pressure.
sure. We also have really great looking journals though. If you do have
Yes.
someone who wants that. Okay, we said this was going to be a short episode.
We did.
And we are dang liars, but I have 2 more books I want to talk about
Okay.
and you can't stop me or you could cut them later, I guess. I wanted to give a recommendation for maybe someone who wants to read a local Madison author. We have so many great ones. We have a huge local author table, both nonfiction and fiction. So you can find great local gifts. But I wanted to, and we shout out a lot of those authors all the time. We have them on this podcast. We love them. But one that I don't think we have shouted out is Wine People by Michelle Wilgen. And it's a great read.
Yes.
It is. You could buy this for anyone who likes wine and wants to read a book. It is about the wine industry. Like there's a wine importer.
It's also about female friendship.
Yes.
And like,
it's about much more than that.
Yes.
And it's really, really well written. It is, again, by a local author, and it's a couple years old, but I think it's a great gift because it's going to be a little off the radar, right? If you're like, I don't know what this person has read, but they like, the, I guess, women's fiction style of book about friendship, about wine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a great book club book for that reason. It would be great for someone in your book club. If you guys haven't read this book, that would be a good gift. I know a lot of people are doing like book club holiday parties where they all have to swap and do like a book trade kind of thing. I think Wine People would be a really great one, and it's unique. Even book people might not have read it, and I think it's a little under the radar. So I wanted to give that one a shout out.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. So I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Do you have any final ones before I get to my last one?
Well, this was one that I picked that was kind of like for anybody.
Yes.
And we've talked about it a ton, but like I just want to underscore that All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker, it might be my favorite read of the year.
It's a good recommendation right there.
Right. I've read a lot this year.
Yeah.
And it's an epic thriller. I don't need to say any more about it because we've talked so much about it, but I think that it would be a great gift for anybody who likes to read, period.
Yes.
Or wants to get back into reading.
Yep. I think the comp that I keep coming back to is for anyone who likes the movie The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
I think this is a right up that alley in terms of the vibe.
Yes.
Great pick. I agree. I've been recommending that to a lot of different types of readers for themselves, and I think it would work as a gift as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, my last one, then I swear we will stop talking, but you can come and get recommendations from us at the store anytime. We love doing this.
Yes.
Is because I have not talked about fantasy once. Can we?
I know. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I was like 50% nonfiction. What are we doing?
I even talked about fantasy already.
I know. So I had to do one. I think what's hard for me is fantasy is very specific.
Yeah.
Like it's very person specific. There's like a lot of different, there's the cozy fantasy, epic fantasy, people who are going to want the new Brandon Sanderson, which I will give a quick shout out to. Wind and Truth comes out December 6th. So it is already out by the time you were listening to this. The new Brandon Sanderson it's like the fifth one in the series. That's going to be a huge thing this holiday season. However, that's hard to buy for someone. How do you know if they've read the first four?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens with fantasy. They're either a big series and you don't know what they've read. You don't know what they have. You don't know if they want cozy or whatever. So it's hard to find a gift for fantasy people. However, there have been all these really great special editions coming out. And I think a special edition of a book, even if you've already read it, even if you already own it, can be a really great gift. So the one I wanted to shout out is Travis Baldry's Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. They are new, beautiful hardcover editions of these books. And he was famously very like self-published, trying to scrap along. Like they were not the best, it was like just kind of like a little paperback with a cartoon cover. And then it became this underground hit and really took off as cozy fantasy was taking off. These are beautiful editions with sprayed edges. They're color coded. They look like I think these books deserve to look.
Uh-huh.
And anybody who likes a cozy fantasy or even an epic fantasy, because it is Dungeons and Dragons related, is going to like these editions. So I feel like those are really great gift ideas. We also have special editions of a lot of books. So like romance has come out with some special editions. There's a new gorgeous edition of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo that has like rings painted down the side. So I do feel like you can find, that's a great gift idea if you're
Yes.
getting stumped.
Mhm.
Get something that's like, I know they love this book and here's this beautiful version of it. That's a great gift.
I agree. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, we got to stop.
We gotta stop.
We got to stop. We could keep going.
This is longer than our episodes normally are. We were gonna do a short episode.
So I guess we'll see you at the bookstore.
We'll see you at the bookstore. Bye.
Book Pop Podcast is presented by Lake City Books. Produced by Jamie Anderson and Molly Fish. Edited by Jamie Anderson. Music and art by Lovick. Follow us on Instagram at bookpop.podcast. Find out more at our website, bookpoppodcast.com.